Alrighty, friends, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to invite the chime to sing, and we'll set the intention for our practice today. Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. My name is Julia. I'm one of the facilitators in the Spokane Sangha, and I am going to choose a sentiment of metta. Let's see which one wants to come forward. Ooh. All right, so these are these little cards that I paint, and then on the back I write sentiments of metta. This one reads, gaze. That's all it says, gaze. Love it. Gaze. And may that be an invitation for us throughout our practice today to take a gentle inward gaze. I invite everybody to find a posture in the body that feels noble and comfortable. That may include lying down, that may include sitting cross-legged, it may be sitting in a chair. Whatever feels comfortable to you. For those of you who are online, to practice some intentionality and some awareness, break some of the connection between you and your computer and turn your body at a different angle from your computer so that you're not facing the computer screen head on. For our practice today. Turn your body, you can even turn your back to the computer if you want. Turn your body slightly to the side and see if, as you turn your gaze inward, if there's something different that you can experience. Come into any awareness of tension that you might be carrying and see if you can find some relaxation in the body through the breath. For the past 2 months in the Spokane Sangha, we have been exploring an aspect of duality in our human lives, specifically the dual nature of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine, the dual nature of gender, the binary nature of gender. And we've been opening up this discussion to expand that point of view and to recognize that when we begin to explore and accept and live from a non-binary place, that is, to celebrate the masculine qualities alive and well in us, the feminine qualities alive and well in us, that those stereotypical definitions slowly begin to fade. And the attitude that perpetuates them erodes away. And we become more open, more curious, more accepting of people exactly as they are. We are winding down this particular conversation, and it has been a really wonderful and illuminating conversation to have. Some of the sharings have been incredibly tender. And my motivation for bringing this forward for all of us with such intense scrutiny is to remind us that the elements surrounding our recovery and the aspects surrounding our habit energy are not always direct and clear. Often they are subtle, indirect, unclear. And so to have a full, whole, authentic understanding of ourselves, which is the first element on the Noble Eightfold Path, wise understanding, we have to practice not always taking the direct approach to understanding who we are, but to take a side door, a back door, maybe to come in from the rooftop or to come in from the basement of ourselves and have a look at ourselves from a different angle. And that's the motivation for having the conversation around how does the sacred feminine live in you? And how does the sacred masculine live in you? And how can these two qualities, these two life-giving aspects, become whole and balanced in you, as a unique, necessary, human, spiritual being? Take a moment and breathe. Recognizing that whenever we explore the nature of duality, this or that, we are invited to always have a spirit of curiosity and play, because within this, there is duality. Within this, there are always light and shadow aspects. And within that, there are also light and shadow aspects. And that goes on and on and on. Because when you look at this, and you look at its light and shadow qualities, the light qualities have positive and negative aspects. And the positive aspect of that has good and bad written all over it. You see where I'm going? It goes on and on. And we can get very serious about this. And that way, to smile makes us realize, oh wow, I might be going in too deep. I don't have to go that far. Maybe I need to breathe and pull myself back and take the broader view, become the observer, just observing with neutrality. And when we do that, friends, we step into the practice of equanimity, the capacity to look at duality without getting sucked into one or the other, simply observing both and their interplay in intricate, complex ways. When we can do this, we begin to cultivate space, because we see the good and bad alive and well in us. We see the light and shadow and all the ways it can manifest within us. And the more we understand it, and the less we are tied to it, and the more space we give, we begin to have a sense of freedom. In the Buddhist tradition, the third noble truth is the idea that there is freedom from discomfort. It is a possibility. It is available to each of us. And the way to get there is the fourth noble truth, called the Noble Eightfold Path. 8 very broad elements, signposts, dances, if you will, that help us understand the conditions surrounding what makes us suffer, what makes us uncomfortable, what makes us reactive. So when we have wise understanding, wow, when we can just gain a little insight into something that's going on, that can shift our relationship to craving and attachment, sources of discomfort and suffering. When we have an intention to understand ourselves, not with judgment or admonishment, that's just more attachment and craving, but to really have an intention to understand ourselves with equanimity and peace. Wow, what a beautiful thing to offer and alleviate the discomfort in our lives and the condition that creates it. And then something shifts in us, and suddenly our actions are different. We recognize that, wow, my action in the form of reactivity, in the form of caving to a craving, in the form of negative self-talk, these are contributing factors to my misery. Why am I doing that? How about I do something different? But it's not as easy as that. It sounds easy. It seems like it should be easy, and it isn't, sometimes for inexplicable reasons. It takes a lot of wise effort to pull it off. Certainly, one of the most accessible things that we can shift about ourselves is our speech. The way we talk to ourselves, the way we talk about other people in the privacy of our own minds and stories. It's so fascinating how, when we're judging someone or we're creating a story about someone, how miserable we can be and how attached we are to that misery. It's fascinating to observe, and we all do it. It serves some purpose sometimes. And so the invitation is to understand, what purpose is this serving? Am I engaging in this judgmental storyline because I'm in a bad mood and I just want to stay feeling bad? That might actually be a real thing. And then what a curiosity. Why am I in this bad mood? And why do I want to feed this bad mood? And what am I getting out of it other than misery? Maybe I don't know how to shift it. And maybe by changing the way I talk, I create a little space for compassion. Oh my goodness, Julia, you are in a biting mood today, honey. Get a snack. You might be hungry. Have a drink of water. Notice a small wonder. Engage in some beauty. See if you can be gentle toward this mood and see if it shifts just a wee bit. Over time, these subtle practices change our lives. Wise livelihood. But it doesn't happen in the absence of mindfulness. It takes lots of practice, lots of attention, lots of commitment to care and consideration, awareness, all of which requires the eighth element of the Noble Eightfold Path, wise concentration. Part of being human is to forget all of this. Part of being a human spiritual being is to wake up and remember, and then fall asleep and forget, and then wake up and remember, and then fall asleep and forget, over and over and over again. I was thinking the other day about the Buddha, this human being who is only an imaginary person in my mind based on story and legend. Who knows who he really was and what he was really all about. And it occurred to me that, the Buddha on occasion got pissed off. I bet he totally was reactive at times, shook his fists at injustice, was irritated and annoyed because he was a human being. I bet he cried and felt really, really sad at loss. I bet you anything that the Buddha befriended animals, probably had a favorite monkey, and mourned deeply when it died, because he was a human being. As I was thinking about this, some voice in my mind, some inner critic in my mind was like, Julia, what are you talking about? The Buddha was enlightened. As if an enlightened being is no longer a human being. And that's the difference, friends. The Buddha, in his anger, as I imagine him, was able to experience the full range of his anger contained within his own mind and his own heart because of his commitment, his motivation, and his wakeful intention at all times to do no harm. And so he was insatiably curious about understanding when anger came to visit him, the conditions of it surrounding him, how it felt in his body, what erupted in his mind in terms of thought and story, and what he was going to do to alleviate it, to make sure that it didn't spill over and hurt anyone. That is what it means to be enlightened and awake. To my mind, anyway, that is the aspiration I am seeking in this practice. It's not about never having anger. It's not about never feeling sadness. It's not about never having attachments or cravings. It's not about forgetting things, missing important meetings, forgetting important birthdays and anniversaries, at times losing my temper and being a jerk. It is about cultivating enough curiosity and wonderment about how these things are coming alive in me and keeping them close to my mind and heart, understanding them, embracing them, shifting them, being gentle to all of this human capacity. So that when I go into the world and when I interact with people, my jerkiness gets less and less and less. My judgments and storytelling gets less and less and less. My wonderment increases. My desire to be present and compassionate to others increases. And with my whole being, the spirit of love and joy is felt, resonates, and finds purchase and life in others as a source of healing, as a source of hope, as a source of beauty and energy to keep going. There is absolutely nothing unique about my aspiration here that I'm sharing with you today. My determination for it is highly masculine in my mind. The softness that I bring is the beauty of my feminine side. Together, I have this incredible aspiration that is in each of us. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't in you. You really wouldn't. I know some of you doubt it, and that's okay. But you are here because you have a call to be here. You have a need to be here. There's something within you that wants to wake up. Your practice is an extraordinary expression of that devotion, and I thank you for it. May your determination be strong and courageous. May it embody everything that is sacred about the masculine. May your speech, your heart remain open and soft. May you always have a spirit of nurturance and comfort. May this be the embodiment of the sacred feminine in you. May the two come together as you, a unique divine being, and may you trust your power to heal yourself and others by your presence, your beauty, your heart, all of it alive in this practice. I'll conclude our practice today by chanting Shakyamuni Buddha chants, honoring the Buddha in his wakefulness, the Buddha in his humanness, the Buddha as our guide, alive and well in us. Taya tao muni muni maha muni soha. Taya tao muni muni maha muni soha. Taya tao muni muni maha muni soha. What's coming to me as a dedication of merit is a beautiful mindful moment by Thich Nhat Hanh. And I don't think I'm going to get it exactly right, so forgive the paraphrasing, but what he's encouraging us to look at and to remember with a soft inward gaze is that a flower in all its beauty and brilliance is here to be a flower. It makes no demands on itself to be anything other than what it is, a flower. May we all take the wisdom of the flower's consciousness into our being and remember that we are here to be authentically and wholly ourselves, separate from social conditioning, expectations, and demands, and to simply have the courage, the strength, the nurturance and tenderness of the sacred masculine and feminine. That word sacred is what makes it key, because it's all of it and more. May we have the courage to express it fully, being ourselves completely in each moment. Thank you for your beautiful practice. Have a gorgeous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.